Hey, what's up guys? Welcome to AIRSOFT. I'm really happy to welcome Stu back to the channel. I think you guys would have seen him in the PSG1 video. If you haven't seen that, definitely go check it out. People seem to enjoy that one. So as I said, I'm very thankful to have Stu with me because he is one of the few people who get his hands on the new releases of guns first in the world. So Stu, why don't you give us a bit of a breakdown on that long list of creds that you have behind your name?
The street cred. Stu Mortimer, so Stu Becker. I've been here 5 years. I've been playing since 2005, so 17 years this summer. When I came here, I started writing for various magazines, so Combat King Monthly for about 4 years. And then more recently I started with Airsoft Action online magazine. The article on this will be dropping in 1 week. Yeah,
well, Stu has been such an influential figure in the airsoft industry here in Taiwan, and he's got such a close relationship with the factories. And one of the benefits about living in Taiwan is that a lot of the manufacturers are based here. Stu has the benefit of getting his hands on these weapons first. So what we're going to do with AIRSOFT is focus on reviewing some of the latest releases with Stu's world of knowledge, and you guys can get it here first. How do you go about checking the gun, and what do you chat to the manufacturers and stuff?
Yes, I mean in this case this is a VFC M733, so it's Colt licensed by Cybergun. So it's their first one for a few years that's actually been licensed by a Cybergun. I went to VPSC, the Pentagon Center. I'll sit down with our marketing guy Ray. I'll talk about the process and like kind of manufacturing features, things like that. And then obviously they let me borrow this and take it away, do my own photos, and obviously I skirmished it as well. So I tested it out pretty thoroughly over a day of kind of shooting and got my thoughts together on it. Because I've been doing this quite a long time, and especially with gas guns since I came here, I can understand how things work and how well they're performing just kind of by playing with it for a couple of hours. So yeah.
Stu did mention in the magazines that he writes for is that they do follow-up reviews. What are the points in time?
Yeah, it depends. Usually either 6 months, 9 months, 12 months, maybe even a year and a half. We will keep our eye on these things. In the UK, they tend to send a whole raft of different guns over to our kind of library that our manager has, and the guys there will take them out, they'll basically book them out, take them for a skirmish, keep their thoughts together about them, and then everyone puts their feedback in to like Red Cell, which is our group that kind of review these guns, and we look at problems that might develop, performance issues that decline. A lot of reviewers on YouTube will give you an unboxing, throw a few rounds downrange, tell you it's great, and then expect you to buy it. We want to give a much more broad and trustworthy kind of look at things in terms of feedback from the manufacturer as well, where we find problems. We've already made inroads with that with some of our tech guys, making good suggestions to upgrade equipment and components. And we want you, the viewers and the people buying these things and supporting the whole industry, to know that you're getting a good product and what might go wrong with it or where the wearing is.
So one of the reasons I have a lot of respect for Stu is because he really put these guns through their paces, and so working closely with the manufacturers here in Taiwan, he's able to pick up where there are issues on these guns and give feedback to the manufacturers. So you're not going to get a sales pitch. You're going to get an honest review about the quality of these guns and the workings of them and the production process. But you do give feedback.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm from an engineering background. That's what I studied at university. I did computer design, and I spent 10 years in manufacturing and heavy industry before I came to Taiwan, and when I get residency I'll be looking to move back in that direction as well anyway. So I've got a pretty in-depth understanding of how these things are put together, the processes, the manufacturing, the materials, the costs involved as well. So I come at it from that kind of perspective that if I was designing and making one of these myself, like how would I go about it, and look at where manufacturers are doing good things and where some of them might cut corners or they have to make realistic kind of reductions in cost, especially at the moment because the prices of materials are skyrocketing. So
Stu, what do we have before us today?
This is the Cybergun licensed Colt M733 GBBR. It's the first gas blowback of this format. The M733 is 1980s, early 90s. You'll probably remember it from Black Hawk Down the most, or more recently Blood Diamond.
Awesome.
And of course Heat, the famous shootout scene after the bank robbery. Robert De Niro and Val Kilmer's characters running these things and shooting up police cars like no one's business. So
awesome. So this is sort of the medium tier.
Yeah, the way Ray pitched it to me, basically, this is kind of like a rebirth of an old idea. I used to have the Marui AEG in the UK. A lot of people, older players, will remember that and remember this era. Younger players maybe don't know what this is as much. It's the first gas gun in this format, so it gives collectors that know what it is something, and it gives new players a more economical and lightweight and small entry to VFC's GBB market.
Right, that's what I was thinking. Who is this sort of aimed towards? And as you said, it's because it's got so much history. It's appeared in a couple of very famous movies. I suppose it definitely appeals to the collector.
Definitely. But yeah, the performance as well is pretty good. So it's not just something that looks nice. I mean, I ran it out at 70 meters easily, and the range and the accuracy were brilliant.
Of course, you know, there was always an elephant in the room with HK's 416 platforms, either the 416D and the 416A5. Of course, there was the infamous bolt lock issues and a couple small issues I've ran into with the FPS increasing with the NPAS system.
So yeah, this is using VFC's 3rd gen system. So it's the simplified striker unit. It's got a steel hammer, so it works better for that way. The magazines are compatible. The ones that come with us usually have like a Colt stamping on the bottom. These are just their kind of Pentagon Center ones they lent me, but it's using the same system as the new BCM. So if you've got BCM magazines, you've got compatibility. And
they're compatible with 416 mags as well. So what are we looking at around the cost?
Cost-wise, in Taiwan, it's just below 10,000 NT. So if you're in the US, that's going to be about 300 US. If you're in the UK, it's going to be about 250.
Not bad at all. I'd say their offerings sit between 14 and 16.
For the BCM, you're looking at about 16,000. So
yeah, with no mags.
Yeah.
Right, and the mags are not cheap.
Yeah.
Awesome. And some specs that you can throw out for us.
So overall length, it's 770 millimeters. You can collapse the stock to the closed position. That's 685. The internal barrel is 275 millimeters, which doesn't sound like a lot, but it still shoots really well because of the quality of it. So it's only got the 2 positions for the stock because it's a classic style. They didn't really have fully adjustable ones until a few years later in the real steel guns. But you can drill your own holes if you like to, which is just what the real guys did. So when body armor came around, they'd put it out, drill a hole with the armorer, and then have it at the right length.
Interesting.
You can do that yourself. There's enough meat left in this to do that.
Okay, and the mags?
30 round standards. You can get 20s as well, like the Vietnam issue ones, but it's supplied with 30 rounders. These are the new VFC versions. So aluminium external, aluminium cast alloy reservoir inside, and a steel head for durability and to hold all the main components in it. So lighter than usual, and the grey finish. And
I don't assume it's ambidextrous?
No, because it's a classic, it's very slick. It does have the forward assist on it, and it's got the standard charging handle, but there's only one side selector, it's not ambi. There's no ambidextrous mag release, it's just on this side here.
Okay.
So it was really one of the first carbines of its type. So there was the 723, which has a longer barrel. This is a 733. This was about as short as they could get them and make them reliably work.
Okay. So. And how's the hop adjustment in this, Ben?
So, to adjust the hop, you have to pull the D-ring back and take the bottom handguard. There's a wheel underneath. That is a bit tricky. This is quite a strong spring, so I was like kind of wrestling it. But, you know, it's not going to fall apart on you. So yeah, you pull that back, take the bottom hang off, and there's like a wheel adjust drum underneath, and it's really consistent. It's quite stiff, but you can basically use your fingernail to drive it over gently, and you can get a really good, accurate adjustment. So I was using 0.3 gram BBs, and literally 70 meters, it was driving them all the way out there, really fast, really straight.
So you ran at 0.3 with 12 kilograms?
Yeah, that's my standard. I always use 0.3 grams unless it's a sniper rifle. So.
Okay. When was this gun released, though?
The actual replica, quite recently, so it was mid-May when they finally dropped it. You'll only be able to get this in Asia, really, for the moment. You might be able to ship it from an Asian distributor, but the US obviously can't have it because it's ATF non-compliant. Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco and Firearms, basically, because these are so real and the dimensions are so real, the US authorities are worried that people buying gas guns will be able to use this part with real gun components, which are not regulated. So
like compatible receivers.
Yeah, so it's very difficult to get an AR pattern gas gun into the US at the moment, if ever. So
yeah, and that's I just wanted to segue in there. You know, you're a seasoned airsoft player. You and I both use. You know, some of our guns are 30,000 NT plus. We have some pretty decent platforms that we work with. What is your personal opinion on skirmishing something like this?
I don't want to give this back. I had such a good time.
You did say that.
Yeah, I had such a good time playing with this, and it's like, obviously I remember, like, for me, classically, because I remember the AEG that I had in the UK, This is brilliant. It's just exactly the right length for what you need. It's got enough barrel length to give you the performance. The recoil on it is insane because this thing weighs...
I was going to ask.
2.5 kilograms for the whole gun.
What?
So the bolt is a heavier, well, it's not heavier, but it's more proportion of the whole weight. So that thing flinging around, it really kicks. It's surprising. So even though they put a softer spring in the buffer, it really clacks, and it's loud and it's fun and it's just easy to use, lightweight, short, so you can go through doorways with it.
And that's why we like GBBs.
It's just tons of fun.
And you know what else I noticed is from the A5 they had the larger castle nut on the back here, and what I noticed on the BCM they moved to the smaller castle nut, and I actually went and took the larger castle nut off of my A5 and changed it to the shorter one for the BCM because this doesn't come loose. What we can see now is that VFC are seriously applying the lessons that they've learned. Having these little additions, you know that you're getting a gun that is the culmination of lessons learned over the last couple years. And yeah, I mean, having it at this price point, it just screams value for money.
Definitely. I mean, it's certainly a good gateway drug for new players. If you're not really sure about getting a gas gun, because they are an investment, this is a really good starting rifle, and because it's got magazine compatibility, if you like it and you want to get something a bit more at market, you can transfer to the BCM for a bit of extra money. You've already got the magazines, which are one of the big expenses.
Right.
So you've got that ecosystem entry. You can get a economical but high quality VFC, spend a little less money than you would on a BCM, and still have a really good fun gun. And then when you've had that a while maybe and you want something different, you've already got all the components you need to progress into that easily.
Awesome, Stu. I think that's a wonderful introduction to this lovely new offering from VFC. I would just like to let you guys know that myself and Stu are going to be working together regularly to get content to you. Taking advantage of the benefit of receiving these weapons from the manufacturers, literally, you know, first in the world. And like I said, I'm thankful and I'm lucky to have access to Stu, who is one hand down from receiving. You know, he's part of that. How can I say, the AIRSOFT intellectual dark web, right? who has
in
access?
A circle.
Yeah, yeah, behind the scenes. But yeah, to be part of the group of people who get access to these things early, like first in the world early, and so yeah, we look forward to bringing more content to you like that. And let us know what you think of the video. If you have any questions, please pop them down below. We'll leave a link to the article on this gun. I will add that to the video when everything is out. And yeah, give us a thumbs up, subscribe, and leave Stu comments about what you want to know about this gun and what you guys would like to see.
You can always tell them that the next thing I'll be doing is probably the FAL.
Ooh la la.
Next month. Then the Uzi.
Okay.
I've got the LC53 to look at as well. So I have quite a lot of my own guns, plus I get access to all these as well. So
how many guns have you got now?
23, 25. 2 more, 25.
Nice. Right, so there'll be a lot of content coming out. Looking forward to doing some work with you, my man.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for watching, guys.
Cheers, guys.
Bye.